All right, so let's have a little discussion about how I feel about some of the state of police brutality in the United States of America, because I think I didn't really get some of my feelings off my chest. First of all, I've heard this narrative of grifting, to current narrative, so that's cute. But if you go to my channel, that's kind of stupid. And if you go on my Facebook page, yeah. I mean, I literally got stuff like "fuck the police" on there sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just how I feel. I gotta be honest with you. I feel that there are some good cops out there, but I've met some bad ones, and that always bothered me. So, anyways, how do I feel about police brutality? All right. First off, let me start off by saying how I'm going to lay this out. Have you ever sung the song 12 Days of Christmas? You start off with an initial premise, then or initial number, and you just build on it. But you never forget to mention the thing that you mentioned before. It's kind of like always a line. So that's how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to use South Carolina because I understand South Carolina. I spent more than 30 years there. So I understand the state. I've been to every part of South Carolina. I've met a lot of people there. It's not a very large state in comparison. I mean, to a lot of Europeans and other people around the country, it might seem like a large place with 5.1 million people. But keep in mind, America has well over 320 million people now. So 5.1 million is a very small percentage of the population. So it's not a very large place. A lot of small towns, people know each other. So, point one. The sheriff's badge. Well, 40% of the slave trade that came to the U.S. came through the port of Charleston, which is in South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina is currently a tourist destination. A lot of people come from all over the world. When I was in Charleston, I met people from Ireland, Japan, China, from all over the world. Of course, that was before the pandemic. That said, the sheriff's badge, if there's any place, I mean, there is no single state that brought in more slaves than South Carolina in terms of the port of Charleston. No single place, no port. So if you understand that the sheriff badge was originally used for slave catchers, there'd be no place in the country where there'll be harsh feelings towards that sheriff's badge than South Carolina. Okay. Do you kind of get that? I really hope you do. I really hope I don't have to really explain that any further. So that's point one. Okay. Point two. Right. The people who largely remained in Charleston were part of the Gullah Nation and the slaves, the black people. The Gullah Nation, they're people who are a lot of times called Geechee. They have this really strange accent. A lot of them speak Gullah. You'll see them weaving baskets if you go down to the old slave market. And the slave market is still there. It's still intact. That's how you know that happened, because it's still intact now. So you don't have to question it. You can just go see it for yourself. And you'll see them as merchants a lot of times. And as I'm watching them be merchants in the modern day, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you don't own these slave markets. Someone's making money off of it, and it's not you. I look at all the destinations around that place. Their people were sold there. And if anyone should have gotten reparations, it should have been those people. I mean, they're right there, dude. The slave markets is right there. The vast majority of slaves came from in terms of like one spot, right there. You can't debate that one now. So, again, go back to point one. Point one, sheriff's badge. It's a very powerful symbol to black folk in that state. Two, modern day hard feelings from the lack of money that's coming to that person. So, remember that. Here's point three. Okay, point three. South Carolina is second in the nation in weed arrests. And as we know, as you keep hearing from all over the country, disproportionately black people are locked up. Now, you look at places like uh, I want to say Chester County. Chester County is number one in the whole state in locking people up for weed. Number one. Last time I checked. Now I could be wrong, but I checked. Last time I checked, it was number one. Chester doesn't even have that many black people there, and yet for some reason they still find a way to disproportionately lock up black people. So the issue is not the locking up, because first of all, I don't even agree with the whole drug war. I think it's stupid in the first place. But the issue is that most people in the state don't even agree with the weed laws, because weed is super illegal in South Carolina. It's not even legal for medicinal purposes. So you're doing something that people don't agree with. Okay. Which means you're going contrary to the will of people. So let's go back to our list. 1, sheriff's badge is a very powerful symbol. 2, hurt feelings. 3, targeting people for something that's already unpopular, which means it's costing you a lot of money and it's unpopular. So you kind of can see how somebody might think it might be a little bit personal, given the other 2 points that came forward. You kind of see why I'm doing this whole exercise now? Because see, a lot of people who want to go contrary to these points, they want to pretend like time is not linear. You know, when they discuss police, when they discuss, you know, issues with the police, they love to start off in the middle of stories or the ending, but never the beginning, and follow a consistent trend. Okay, so again, that's the list. Now let's go back. Next point. Given how South Carolina has a high incarceration rate, given how much we spend on incarcerating people, how we will literally spend 10, sometimes 20 times the amount of the dollar amount per person in the whole state, given how we'll do that, do you see how, with those 4 points, how there could be some kind of hostilities? And when that hostility exists, there's going to be a rift between the police and certain communities. And when that rift exists, what do you think happens? Because it's not like the law is going to stop. You know, the law enforcement officers or the politicians or the judges are going to stop targeting people for things that are unpopular. And many would argue, and I certainly would, that things that are unjust, tyranny. Notice how I didn't bring up any kind of specific police action. I didn't bring up George Floyd there, Ahmaud Arbery. I just brought up history. And that alone tells you there's some unresolved issues there. I used to work corrections. I used to be in the military. I could go play with some of these videos, but I'm not going to bother doing that because I'm not going to fall for the trap. That's pointless because it's not going to convince you anyways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attack the base of your argument. If you want to argue with me, cool. Disagree, I'm fine with that. But I'm going to place you in the most ridiculous position possible. I'm going to force you into it. And I'm going to do it using your own logic. Using your own logic. And if not, I'm going to do it just the way I just did it. Making you follow up the timeline. So what do you think happens given the timeline? What do you think happens the first time you get one incident with a cop? What do you think that community instantly says? Oh, just like always, huh? Nothing's changed. You're gonna say, well, that's not true. 4 things. You see why I did that exercise now? 4 things. Past, present, near future, probable future. I gave you an argument from one state. Just one. A state that only has 5.1 million people in a country of 320 plus million. And there are people out there asking me, why does there seem to be some animosity? There needs to be reforms. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of, Jack Ryan, John McClane. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, in my opinion, by the way, if you want to know. But I will say that no matter what we do, we got to start off by acknowledging the past and telling the truth. Let's cut the bullshit. Anyways, guys, horns up. Peace out.